All right, let's dive into something special today.
Yeah.
You know, where luxury and cutting-edge tech really collide. We're talking about the future of high-end driving, folks.
Sure.
And, you sent us an article all about the Mercedes-Maybach SL Mythos 2025, so...
The Mythos.
That's what we're diving into.
Yeah, it's more than a concept car, really.
Oh, yeah.
It's like Mercedes-Maybach is laying down a marker, showing us what ultimate luxury on four wheels could actually be like.
And from what I'm seeing, it seems like they definitely spared no expense. So let's kick things off at the heart of this beast, right? We've got to start with the engine. A 4.0-liter V8 biturbo.
The engine.
Now, I gotta admit, biturbo always sounds a little, little Star Trek to me.
Well, it's in a way, it kind of is Star Trek when you think about the power it throws down. Basically, you've got two turbochargers.
Okay.
Which basically means they're cramming more air into the engine.
Right.
And more air means a much bigger explosion.
Okay.
And we're talking 620 horsepower.
Yeah.
To be precise.
620, that's like, what? A whole stable of horses under the hood?
Yeah, you could say that.
But here's what's got me thinking, The whole world seems to be going electric, right?
Right.
But Mercedes-Maybach is still putting a gas-guzzling, earth-rumbling V8 in this thing.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Like, is the sound of a powerful engine, is that always going to be something that gets people going?
There's definitely a certain romance to it, a visceral appeal that's tough to replicate, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But it's not just about raw power, right?
Yeah.
The Mythos has a 9-speed automatic transmission. That means super smooth gear changes, almost like you're gliding on air.
Wow.
And then on top of that, you've got 4MATIC all-wheel drive.
Break that down for me. What are we talking about?
So imagine, it's like having this team of, I don't know, tiny mechanics under the car, right?
Okay.
And they're constantly adjusting the power going to each wheel individually.
Wow.
So no matter what the road throws at you, you've got amazing grip and control.
Okay.
Picture yourself carving through those winding mountain roads, feeling totally in tune with the asphalt.
Oh, man, I'm getting chills just thinking about it. But, all right, this car, it's obviously not just about what's under the hood, right? This article, they were raving about the design, and they kept using the phrase sleek aerodynamic lines. Is that just like car speak for it looks fast even when it's standing still?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
But here's the thing, those lines, they're not just for show.
Right.
They're literally sculpted to slice through the air,
Wow.
That does a couple of things. One, it helps with fuel efficiency. And two, it gives the Mythos that wow factor, that head-turning presence on the road.
And like any good head turner, right, it's got to be all about the details. The article really honed in on those futuristic LED headlights, which, okay, pretty standard these days, right?
Yeah, you see them everywhere.
But then there's the rear spoiler.
Ah, yes.
And I gotta ask, is that just for looks?
Well, it looks cool, but it's not just cosmetic.
Oh.
It actually creates this downforce, pushing the car onto the road, especially at high speeds.
So it's actually functional.
Exactly. Form and function working together, which, to me, that's the sign of good design.
I like that. So we've covered the power, we've talked about looking good, but honestly, with a car like this, I think it all comes down to what it feels like when you actually get behind the wheel.
Oh, for sure.
So paint me a picture. What's the vibe inside the Mythos?
Okay, so imagine this. You open the door, and you're immediately hit with this scent of Nappa leather.
Okay, hold on. I'm not like a leather connoisseur or anything.
Think of it like the Beyonce of leather, right?
Okay.
Incredibly soft.
Okay.
Luxurious.
Okay, so top tier.
You sink into the seats.
This is a Maybach.
They probably give you a massage while you're at it.
All right. Now you're speaking my language.
Yeah.
But seriously, the article, they kept using words like craftsmanship, attention to detail. Is that just fancy marketing, or is there something actually special about the Mythos's interior?
It's definitely intentional.
Okay.
Mercedes-Maybach, they don't mess around when it comes to those little details. Take the 12.3-inch touchscreen display, for example.
Okay.
They didn't just slap it onto the dashboard as an afterthought.
Right.
It's seamlessly integrated,
Right.
Part of the flow of the whole interior.
Okay.
Same with the Burmester 3D sound system.
Hold on, 3D sound system? That sounds a little gimmicky to me, like something you'd find on a pair of those novelty headphones.
Oh no, this is not a gimmick, trust me.
Okay.
Burmster's top of the line audio. And the 3D system, it's designed to completely immerse you in sound.
Okay.
They even put speakers in the headrests.
Wow.
So you're literally at the center of the action.
Okay.
Whether you're listening to, Beethoven's Fifth or your ultimate driving playlist.
Okay. Now that's what I call an immersive experience. But okay, let's talk practicality for a second. Yeah, you've got a car this powerful, this luxurious.
Right.
It better be safe too.
Oh, absolutely.
What did the article say about safety features?
So it's not just about being flashy. The Mythos is serious about safety.
Good.
It's got like a whole arsenal of driver assistance systems.
Okay, like what?
Lane keeping assist,
Okay.
adaptive cruise control,
Right.
blind spot monitoring.
So are we talking like it practically drives itself?
Not quite Knight Rider yet. Okay. These systems are there to assist the driver, not completely replace them.
Okay.
Think of it like having a co-pilot
Okay.
who's constantly looking out for you, making sure you're staying safe and aware on the road.
So like a really, really observant friend riding shotgun.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, but even with all that tech, right? The car itself has to be able to take a punch.
Of course.
Did the article say anything about the actual construction of the Mythos?
They basically built this thing like a tank,
Really?
but, way more stylish.
Okay.
They're using high-strength steel and aluminum in the body.
Okay, so lightweight but strong. I feel like that's pretty much standard for high-end cars these days, though.
You're right, it's not exactly revolutionary.
Right.
But the key is in how Mercedes-Maybach is combining those materials.
Well-
It's not just about making the cabin super safe in a crash.
Right.
It's about getting the weight distribution absolutely perfect,
Okay.
which is huge for handling and performance.
It's like they thought of everything.
They usually do.
Speaking of thinking of everything,
Yeah.
this article also made a big deal about the Mythos's connectivity.
Right.
They were talking about 5G capabilities, seamless smartphone integration.
Yeah, it's impressive.
It's like they took my dream smart device and just built it into a car.
That's a good way to put it.
So it's all about staying connected even when you're out on the open road.
Exactly.
So with 5G, everything is super fast.
Blazing fast.
Streaming music,
Instantaneous.
hopping on a video call if you need to.
No problem.
And with smartphone integration, you can control pretty much everything from your phone.
Almost everything.
So I can unlock the doors,
Yep.
start the engine,
Huh?
even blast the AC before I get in.
All of that and more.
Oh, wow.
It's about ultimate convenience, really.
Right.
And the ability to customize the entire experience to your liking.
Okay.
But here's the real kicker. Ready for this?
Get me.
The Mythos is designed to receive over-the-air software updates,
What?
just like your phone.
No more taking it to the dealership for a software update.
Exactly. No more waiting around.
That changes everything.
Right. It's a game changer.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
Powerful engine, check. Stunning design, check. Luxurious interior, obviously.
Obviously.
Top of the line tech, check. And more safety features than we can count.
It's a loaded car.
So the big question is the Mercedes-Maybach SL Mythos 2025 really our ticket to the future of driving?
It's definitely pushing the limits,
Mm-hmm.
but it also brings up an interesting point.
What's that?
We're talking about this incredible machine, right? Built for a truly immersive driving experience.
Right.
But at the same time, everyone's talking about a future filled with self-driving cars.
Yeah, it's true.
So where does that leave a car like the Mythos?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, it's like comparing, I don't know, a hand-stitched leather steering wheel to a voice-activated control panel.
Exactly.
They both get you where you're going, but the experience
Completely different.
completely different.
And that's exactly why I think cars like the Mythos will always have a place.
You think so?
Yeah. They tap into something deeper. It's not just about getting from point A to point B.
Right. It's about the journey.
It's about the thrill of control, the artistry of the machine, the sheer joy of driving.
So I guess what you're saying is, while some people are out there dreaming of a future
Yeah.
where they can just kick back, relax, read a book,
Yeah.
while their car does all the work,
Right.
there are still going to be those of us who crave that feeling of the open road, the wind in their hair,
Yeah.
the purr of a perfectly tuned engine.
There's a romance to that image. That's hard to deny.
Yeah.
And honestly, with a car as luxurious as the Mythos, I don't see anyone wanting to take their hands off the wheel.
I mean, I get it. This deep dive, it's really got me thinking,
Yeah.
Maybe the future of driving, it's not an either-or situation.
Interesting.
Maybe there's room for both. Self-driving cars for those times when we just want pure convenience,
Makes sense.
But then driver-focused masterpieces, like the Mythos, for when we want to really, truly experience the art of driving.
I like that, the art of driving.
Right.
There's a thought to ponder.
Yeah.
Maybe the real luxury in the future is having the choice.
That's true. And then choosing to drive the Mythos when you do.
Exactly.
All right, folks, that's it for part 1 of our deep dive into the Mercedes-Maybach SL Mythos 2025. A huge thank you to you for sending this article in.
Yeah, thanks.
It really sparked a fascinating conversation.
It really has.
We'll be back in a bit with part 2, so stick around.
So we were talking about the interior.
Oh, yeah, the inside of this thing.
Yeah, where the magic really happens.
Right. Because, I mean, we can talk about horsepower and spoilers all day, but at the end of the day,
Yeah.
it's all about how this car makes you feel when you're behind the wheel.
It's about the experience, absolutely.
Exactly. So pick up where you left off. Paint us a picture.
Okay, so you're enveloped in this cocoon of Nappa leather.
Okay, we talked about the leather.
But it's not just about the feel, it's the smell, too.
Yeah.
That rich, luxurious aroma. It's intoxicating.
Okay, now I'm really starting to get it. But what else did they focus on in the article?
They talked a lot about the technology.
Right, because it's got to have all the bells and whistles.
Of course. And the Mythos doesn't disappoint.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Well, for starters, there's the infotainment system.
Okay.
It's not just a screen, it's like this massive 12.3-inch touchscreen display.
Wow.
But it's not just big, it's beautifully integrated into the dashboard.
So it's not just like slapped on there as an afterthought.
Exactly. It flows seamlessly with the design.
I like that. What about sound?
Oh, the sound system is something else.
Yeah.
We're talking Burmester.
Okay, I know Burmester. They make some high-end speakers.
Yeah, top of the line. And in the Mythos, they've really outdone themselves.
Okay, how so?
They've created this, get this, a 3D sound system.
3D sound. Is that like those
I know what you're thinking.
those novelty headphones?
Yeah, but it's not like that at all.
Okay.
This is next level audio immersion.
All right. I'm intrigued. How does it work?
Well, they've strategically placed speakers throughout the cabin,
Okay.
even in the headrests.
No way.
So no matter where you're sitting, you're enveloped in sound.
Wow, that's pretty wild.
It's like being in a concert hall, but
Wow.
you're cruising down the road.
That's a good analogy. So we talked about comfort, we talked about tech.
Right.
But what about safety?
Ah, yes.
Because this thing is a beast.
It is.
It's got to be safe, too.
Safety is paramount, and the Mythos takes it very seriously.
Okay, good to know.
They've packed this car with a whole suite of advanced safety features.
Like what?
Well, for starters, there's lane keeping assist.
Right. That keeps you from drifting.
Exactly. It gently nudges you back into your lane if you start to veer off.
Okay, that's good.
And then you've got adaptive cruise control.
Which basically means the car speeds up and slows down with traffic.
Exactly.
Okay, so you don't have to constantly adjust your speed.
Right. It takes the stress out of driving in traffic.
I like it. What else?
Blind spot monitoring.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's a lifesaver.
It really is.
It alerts you if there's a car in your blind spot so you don't accidentally sideswipe someone when you're changing lanes.
That's happened to the best of us.
I'm sure it has.
Not me, of course, but, you know.
Of course.
So, with all these features,
Yeah.
it sounds like this car practically drives itself.
Well, it's getting there.
Right.
But it's important to remember that these features are designed to assist the driver, not replace them entirely.
Right. It's not fully autonomous yet.
Exactly. You still need to be paying attention to the road and be ready to take control if necessary.
Makes sense. So it's like having a co-pilot.
In a way, yes.
Like a really, really alert co-pilot who's always watching out for you.
Precisely.
I like it. So we've talked about the tech, we've talked about the safety features, but what about the car itself?
What about it?
The article mentions something about the materials they used in the construction.
Oh, right.
What's the deal with that?
Well, they've used high-strength steel and aluminum in the body.
Okay, so it's lightweight.
Yes, but incredibly strong.
So you get the best of both worlds.
Exactly.
Lightweight for performance,
Right.
but strong for safety.
Precisely.
Very cool.
And it's not just about the materials themselves,
Right.
it's about how they're used.
Oh,
They've designed the car to be incredibly aerodynamic,
right. We talked about that.
but they've also paid very close attention to weight distribution
And why is that important?
because it affects everything from handling to fuel efficiency.
Yeah.
So by using lightweight materials and distributing the weight evenly,
Right.
they've created a car that's both nimble and efficient.
Wow, they really did think of everything.
They did.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
Power, design, comfort, technology, safety.
It's a lot to take in.
It is, but it's fascinating stuff.
It is.
But here's the thing, right?
Yeah,
We're living in a world where everyone's talking about self-driving cars.
that's true.
So where does that leave a car like the Mythos?
Seek a good question.
I mean, on one hand, you've got this incredible machine
Right.
designed to give you the ultimate driving experience.
The epitome of driver engagement.
Exactly. But on the other hand,
Yeah.
you've got this future where cars might drive themselves.
Where we take a back seat, so to speak.
Exactly. So it's like, which direction are we going in?
It's a question a lot of people are asking.
Right.
And there's no easy answer.
No, I don't think there is.
But I think there's room for both.
You do. I do.
Okay, tell me more.
Well, think about it this way.
Okay.
There will always be people who are passionate about driving.
Oh, absolutely.
People who love the feeling of the open road, the wind in their hair.
The sound of the engine.
Exactly.
Okay.
For those people, a car like the Mythos is a dream come true.
Right.
It's a car that's meant to be driven.
Not just ridden in.
Exactly.
Okay, I can see that. But what about the people who, maybe they don't enjoy driving as much?
Sure.
Or maybe they just want the convenience of a car that can drive itself.
I think there's a place for that too.
Maybe in the future, we'll have a mix of both.
Okay.
Self-driving cars for those who want them,
Great.
and driver-focused cars like the Mythos for those who don't.
So it's not about choosing one or the other.
Not necessarily.
It's about having the option to choose. I
Exactly.
like that. I like that a lot.
The future of driving might be more diverse than we think.
That's a good point.
A blend of autonomy and driver engagement.
I like it. Okay, so the Mercedes-Maybach SL Mythos 2025.
Yeah,
It's a glimpse into one possible future.
it is.
A future where luxury and performance are still paramount,
Absolutely.
even in a world that's becoming increasingly automated.
A world where we have choices.
Choices. I like the sound of that.
Me too.
All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, we'll continue our deep dive into the Mercedes-Maybach SL Mythos 2025. Stay tuned.
So we were talking about the future of driving
Right.
and this whole idea of self-driving cars versus, cars like the Mythos that are really designed for the driver.
Yeah, it's a fascinating debate.
It is, because on the one hand, you've got this technology that could potentially make driving safer.
And more efficient.
Right, exactly.
Less traffic, fewer accidents.
Imagine that, right? A world where you could basically just sit back, relax.
Let the car do all the work.
Exactly.
Sounds pretty appealing, right?
It does. But then there's a part of me that thinks, what about the joy of driving?
Right. The thrill of being behind the wheel.
Exactly.
That feeling of control, of connection with the road. And I think that's where a car like the Mythos comes in, right?
Absolutely.
It's not just about getting from point A to point B.
It's about the experience.
The experience. And for some people, that experience is everything.
It's about feeling the power of the engine,
Right.
hearing the roar of the exhaust.
The responsiveness of the steering.
Exactly. It's about being fully engaged in the act of driving.
And I think there will always be a place for that.
I do too.
Even in a world of self-driving cars.
I think so. Because for some people, driving is more than just a means to an end.
Right.
It's a passion
A hobby.
and an art form, even.
Exactly.
And you can't replicate that with a computer.
So maybe the future of driving isn't about choosing one or the other.
Maybe it's about having both.
Having options.
Exactly.
Self-driving cars for when you want convenience.
For those long commutes.
Right. Or if you're just not in the mood to drive.
Exactly.
But then you've got cars like the Mythos for when you want to really experience the joy of driving.
When you want to feel the road beneath your wheels.
Exactly.
When you want to connect with the machine.
It's about having the freedom to choose.
And the freedom to enjoy the ride.
Well said. Well said. All right, folks, that about wraps up our deep dive into the Mercedes-Maybach SL Mythos 2025. A huge thank you to you, our listeners, for sending in this article. It sparked a truly fascinating conversation.
It really did.
And as always, keep those engines revving and stay curious about the future of driving. We'll see you next time.
See you then.
Bye for now.